Shalom. Today's May 20th is day 227 of the war in Israel. Newspapers and Israeli news today are highlighting the crash of the Iranian president yesterday noon, northwest of Iran. And it says the helicopter in which Iran's president and its foreign minister were in was crashed in hard weather. It had to land in a very difficult landing through fog and rain. The assumption in these newspapers is that he's dead, but we know this morning that all who were on that helicopter are confirmed dead. Hahitraskut, the crash of the executioner from Tehran. More headlines. 3 soldiers were killed yesterday in the war in Gaza, IDF soldiers. And it reads, Taltala b'Iran. Taltala means shaking. Shaking in Iran. Here's the helicopter crash of the President Raisi and the foreign minister. Hitraskut Iranit, Iranian crash. In the photograph, we see some forces that are there to rescue them, spread out late at night, hoping to find him alive. In the circle, we read Habikur Ha'acharon, the last visit. We see Raisi visiting President Azerbaijan. Here is a map of Iran, Azerbaijan, and Armenia, and the place of crash, the location of the crash is the northwest of Iran. On the right, we're shown the 4 senior leaders who were on the helicopter, Raisi being number 1 and the foreign minister number 2. The headline here reads, Ha'isha Sanum be'Iran, the most hated man, the most hated person in Iran. And this little article here explains who this man was. Who was Raisi? Nicknamed the butcher from Tehran, or the executioner from Tehran. He was very extreme. No one will really be remorseful over his death. They say here it will be a little moral hit in Iran, but there'll be found a replacement, and this hit will be quite easily passed by. He was extremely against Israel. He carried out many actions and operations against Israel, connecting between Hamas and the Islamic Jihad. And he even said here the single enemy that Iran has is Zionism. And the question they're raising is, who will be next? Who will be his replacement? Taltala b'Iran, shaking in Iran. And the question of the day after. This article is speaking about the way the government is constructed in Tehran, and how do they replace a president. Arafel Batzameret, this is fogginess in the top, in the summit. We see here a photograph of Iranian people praying for Raisi's safety last night before they knew he was dead. This article is teaching us about the mechanism of changing a president or replacing a president in Iran. But they're saying the official requirements is that he needs to be above 18, the next candidate. He needs to be born to an Iranian father. The mother is not mentioned. He himself needs to be an Iranian citizen. He needs to be a Shiite with a religious degree. He needs to be honest, without any files in the police, and of course he needs to be very faithful to the Islamic Republic of Iran. But it reads that these are just formalities because Khamenei, the head of Iran, is the one that really supports and chooses the president. Now about the foreign minister of Iran, he died in the crash as well. It says he was the face, the diplomatic or representative face of this evil regime since October 7th. He's here, mitchilat milchama, since the beginning of the war in Israel. This guy has been going around the world doing a lot of diplomatic work against Israel, speaking against her severely. Amongst his threats against Israel, he's quoted here with one example. Higia hazman, it's about time to punish Israel and to raise an international committee to check her crimes, to check Israel's crimes. And another example, the Israeli regime is threatening the safety and security of the Middle East. So these are considered the most 2 anti-Israel and extreme people in Iran. and they both called to kill Israel. And now they are both found dead. The last article about the shaking in Iran, it reads, "LeIsrael ein kesher lahitраскут." Israel has no connection to this crash. Officials in Jerusalem said that Israel was not connected or involved in any way. The assessment in Israel is that Raisi's death will not have any consequences on Israel, meaning they won't blame us for his death. But the question is, who will replace Raisi? And that will determine maybe the consequences over Israel. As I turn the page, we're seeing the heroes that will not return. Hagiborim shelo yeshuvu, as 3 soldiers died yesterday in Gaza. Gal Shabbat, 24 years old. He proposed to his fiancée Roni just last month. She says they met on the bus on the way to one of the army bases, and she says their love story was like a fairy tale story. Nachman Vaknin, 20 years old, from Eilat, Amud HaTavech shel HaTzevet. He held the team together. Sa'ad barosh im chiyuch. He was always a leader with a smile. He always smiled. And his father said that he would say, it is good to die over a country. And his father was dreading the day that he will receive bad news. And yesterday, his son, together with the 2 others, were buried in Israel. May their memory be blessed. Sderot and the north, the south and the north, the students right now in high school are having their final exams, but it's under bombings, it's under sirens. It's hard for them to learn. There have been some sort of, you can say, easier conditions for them in their final studies, but they're saying the sirens and knowing that we're in war is not helping them at all. One evacuee from Kiryat Shmona in the north says, I'm studying here in my little room in the hotel, which is in central Israel. I'm hoping I will succeed. In the photograph, we see students from Sderot yesterday being tested. Their phones are put away. May they succeed in the test, even though there are sirens, the safety is not there, and a lot of them are still evacuated. Israel b'milchama, Israel is at war, and the three hostages that were announced dead, their bodies were returned to Israel. They were buried yesterday on Israeli land. Gufot hachatufim, the hostage bodies, returned for burial. Shani Luk, Amit Buskila, and Itzik Glertner. The parents of Shani Luk here say that we knew she was dead since a few months ago, but we are pleased and we're relieved that her body is back in the country, that we can have a closure here and have a proper grave for her. How many more hostages in Gaza are dead? The number is just rising and rising as we're hearing of more and more hostages that are actually dead and not alive. We'll end with a lighter article, a lighter headline. A potato explosion on the way to the north, not related to any war or any humanitarian aid. A truckload of potatoes was toppled over during the drive to its destination. And in the photograph, we see just the street, a main highway, just being full of potatoes. And this caused a very big jam, of course, and drivers had to find a new route. But we will go for a potato explosion over any other explosion here in Israel. For more updates, for more stories, go to allisrael.com. Follow us on our social media. Like this video if you liked it. And I'm Rotem Magen for All Israel News.